The healthy and sizable middle class is vital for the U.S. economy. However, the last 50 years have not been very kind to the backbone of the American economic might as the middle class continues to disappear. In 2021, the percentage of adults in upper-income households increased significantly from 14% to 21%, while the share of those in lower-income families grew moderately from 25% to 29%. However, the share of the middle class decreased to 50%. So in this video, we'll talk about 15 reasons that contributed to the concerning decline of the American middle class. But before moving on, support our work by subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. That way you'll encourage the production of new episodes and won't miss any uploads. Number 1. Income inequality. For the last 40 years, the wealthiest 1% of Americans have experienced the most significant income growth. The most substantial increase occurred at the very top of the economic ladder. From 1979 to 2019, the average income of the wealthiest 0.01% of households, comprising around 31,500 individuals, grew over 9 times faster than the income of the bottom 20% of earners. These statistics, provided by the Congressional Budget Office, encompass income from both labor and investments. Number 2. Stagnant wages. The middle class has experienced no bright side for their income gains stalling, according to a recently updated paper by 3 economists from the University of California, Berkeley. They run a project called Real-Time Inequality, where they track growth statistics for each income group. This is on top of housing affordability woes, which have been locking in the middle class out of their traditional avenue for wealth building over the past few years. According to the Real-Time Inequality website, the lowest 50% of earners in the U.S. have an average income of $20,000 a year. I've seen their income grow by 6.4% between September 2019 and September 2022. In comparison, the top 10% of earners who make over $400,000 a year have seen their income grow by 7.6%, while the middle 40% who make about $90,000 a year have seen their income rise by 2.6%. Number 3. Globalization. While globalization has benefited many, it has also caused significant harm to certain groups. The World Bank conducted a study of 120 countries from 1988 to 2008 to identify who has been negatively impacted. Findings reveal that American workers have suffered due to the trade deficit with China, leading to the loss of 3.7 million jobs between 2001 and 2018. This loss was primarily felt in the manufacturing sector, with over 75% of job losses occurring there, comprising more than half of all U.S. manufacturing jobs lost or displaced during this period. Number 4. Automation. According to a study by MIT professor Darren Acemoglu and Boston University professor Pascal Restropro, automation has had the most significant negative impact on the U.S. economy. This technological advancement has led to a decline in the middle class, stagnant wage growth, and minimal returns. Study reveals that between 50% and 70% of wage structure changes in the U.S. since the 1980s are due to pay decreases in industries undergoing rapid automation. Middle-income Americans have been hit particularly hard by task displacement, and those who experience the highest levels of displacement also saw the most significant drops in their real wages. Number 5. Costly education. Education is a critical factor in climbing up the income ladder. Parents are expected to spend a record amount on back-to-school and back-to-college shopping, with the former remaining somewhat steady at $37 billion, a dip of 0.5% compared to the previous year, and the latter increasing by an estimated 4% to $74 billion. According to the National Retail Federation, moreover, according to Forbes, college will get a lot more expensive for middle-income families due to recent changes in higher education regulations. Number 6. Weak labor unions. Percentage of wage and salary workers who are union members has decreased over time. In 1983, 20.1% were union members, and by 1993, it had fallen to 15.7%. As of 2021, the rate stands at 10.3%. It's not surprising that approximately 60% of American adults believe that the significant decline in the number of unionized workers over the past few decades has had a negative impact on the country. Number 7, housing costs. Today, the middle class struggles not only to purchase a house, but to rent one. The National Association of Realtors released a new report stating that a household with an income of $75,000 can afford a home that costs up to $256,000. Fortunately, only 23% of home listings fall within this affordable range. New reports say middle and low-income households will face significant rent burdens in major U.S. metro areas. Number 8, healthcare. Sadly, healthcare is a nationwide problem. The healthcare cost crisis in America is dire, with 112 million, 44% of adults struggling to afford healthcare. Even more concerning is that a staggering 93% of Americans believe that they do pay for healthcare is not worth the cost. These alarming findings were discovered through the use of new composite scores developed by West Health, nonprofit organization, and Gallup global analytics and advice firm. Number 9, tax policies. Tax policies do not help middle-class and low-income families to prosper. The Institute of Taxation and Economic Policy reveals that the poor bear the highest state and local tax rates, while the rich enjoy the lowest. Even though the lowest 20% of Americans pay an effective tax rate of 11.4%, which drops to 9.9% for the middle 20%. Further declines to 7.4% for the top 1%. Hence, low-income individuals who pay regressive state sales taxes and local property taxes have a significant stake, irrespective of whether they pay federal income taxes or not. 10. Financialization of the economy. Economic instability and limited opportunities for middle-class wealth accumulation have resulted from the shift towards financial activities rather than productive investment. Following chart shows, finance has grown significantly from 10% of GDP in 1950 to 22% in 2020, while manufacturing declined. Finance now accounts for 40% of profits, but only employs 5% of the population, leading to a shortage of jobs. 11. Childcare. Working parents have no other way than pay for childcare, which has been taking a more considerable share of their family budgets in recent years. Since the pandemic, finding reliable and affordable childcare has become increasingly difficult. This has led to over 1 million Americans leaving their jobs to care for their children, as reported by a survey conducted by the U.S. Census Bureau. According to the latest childcare cost data from 2018, the median prices varied depending on the type of care and county population. For instance, school-age home-based care in counties with a population over 100,000 cost a median of $5,400 in 2022. Alternatively, infant-centered based care in counties with a population of at least 1 million had a median price of over $17,000 in 2022. 12. Wealth accumulation. Middle class has not had the same level of access to the investment opportunities as the wealthy, resulting in a slower accumulation of wealth. In the first quarter of 2023, 69% of the total wealth in the United States was owned by the top 10% of earners. In comparison, the lowest 50% of earners only owned 2.4% of the total wealth. 13. Changing nature of work. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, technological advancements and new ways of doing business are rapidly changing the landscape of employment. As a result, it's imperative that American workers are adequately prepared for the shifts to come and provided with opportunities to achieve middle-class status. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that over 25% of American workers earn less than $25,000 annually, and the number of low-wage jobs is expected to rise in the coming years. Additionally, while college-educated workers have experienced upward occupational mobility from 1980 to 2016, non-college-educated workers have mostly encountered downward occupational shifts. 14. Access to education. The decline in the proportion of middle-class students attending private, nonprofit, and public four-year colleges over the last 20 years is concerning. The fact that the percentage of middle-class students enrolling in college immediately after high school has been steadily decreasing since 2010 only exacerbates the issue. This trend poses a threat to the financial viability of colleges, but also perpetuates a cycle of inequality. It's essential to recognize that individuals without higher education tend to earn less throughout their lifetime. 15. Social safety nets. Social safety net programs such as SNAP and WIC are not effectively reaching Americans in need due to administrative barriers. According to a 2023 report by the Urban Institute, over 40% of adults face difficulties enrolling in SNAP, such as determining eligibility, submitting required documents, and receiving benefits in a timely manner. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and share your thoughts on the declining middle class in America in the comments section below.